Hey, welcome back to Burntwood Workshop. And today we're going to cover making stickers with the M1 Ultra. And these are some of the stickers we made, and I'll show a clip of some more. And what we're going to do is show you how to lay it out on in Creative Space, and we're going to show you how to cut them out and what you need for the process. So I also decided at Burntwood Workshop I needed shirts with my logo, so we made a couple, one with a larger one, one with a smaller one. And we'll show how we made those too in this video. So what I'm using is Affinity software. Things may differ with whatever software you're using, but this is how I do it in Affinity. Okay, so what we have is we have an 8.5 by 11 sheet in our file that we're going to print. If you printed out anything out of these, you know you set it on 8.5 by 11. You're going to do these. You're going to drag in your images that you're going to make stickers on, and you're going to print that out. To get your cutout on it, what you need to do is you need to make an SVG copy of this. And unfortunately, when I click on the file, you're going to go into export, but that's not showing up on the screen for some reason. But in your file section, you go to export. And when you export, you're going to export this whole thing in an SVG at 72 DPI. When you do that, that's what we're going to show you in Creative Space. Okay, so now we're in XTool Creative Space. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into our file and we're going to import the image, and we're going to pick our PNG file of the stickers that we printed out on our printer, and that's what we printed out. And what we want to do is we want to cut the outlines of those out, but since you can't do it with the PNG, you have to import the image that you did in an SVG and open that one. And that one's going to give you your two bottles that look exactly the same, but they're actually separate. So now you can take this bottle and move it over here and zoom in on it. And if you do your offset, that's going to be your offset of that bottle. And their size works pretty good for cutting out stickers. And you can go smaller or larger, but if you go smaller, you're going to pick up a lot more intricate pieces. Whereas at this size, it works really well. So you hit confirm, take this, turn it red, and when you pull it off, you're going to see some little spots stay behind. So actually what you want to do is you want to release that, and you want to delete these little spots. So we got one here, that one here, we've got one here. So that is now our perfect cut outline for our sticker. You just put that around your bottle. And if you can't get it to snap to perfect, you can just use the arrows on your keyboard and bring it up until you get it right where you want it. So that's our first one. Then say we want to do our second bottle, you get rid of this one. We don't need that. Then you take your second bottle, move it over here, zoom in. Now this one's got a little bit more detail in it. So when we do our offset, you're going to pick up a little stray stuff on this one too. So we take that, we turn it to red, pull it out, and as you can see, we picked up some stray stuff down here. Man, I keep forgetting. There we go, release it. And then you just want to go through and delete these. And if you don't get some of these little tiny ones, it'll put a little nick in your sticker, but you can't even really see them. It just takes longer when you're cutting them out. And the other thing you've got to watch for is if you're zoomed in like that, that can accidentally delete the whole thing. So you got to back out till you get your image back. And then try to zoom in and make sure that you can see your outer image when you're doing this. As you can see, it's still there, and that turned blue and that stayed red. So we're good. Okay. So there's our perfect cutout. Now we just want to bring that over here. And that is our sticker cutout. You can delete that bottle. Now you want to cut it. Now, depending on if you want to kiss cut or if you want to fully cut your stickers out, you want to take your red. And unfortunately, we didn't change the other. So now everything's red. So we've got to change this to something else. We'll make it green for right now. And we're going to take the red and the green, and those are going to be two different things because the bottles, you can't really do anything with in here. So we've got this laid out. You want to set your paper in your machine, and when you stick it down, you want to use a squeegee to stick it down to the mat so it stays real good, because I've had it, when it's cutting, curl the paper up if you don't get it seated down nice. Then what I do is I take the crosshairs on the machine, and I'll set the crosshair on the top left corner, and I'll move the paper until it's lined. I'll move this until it's lined up at the top left corner of where the paper is in the machine. And then I'll go to the bottom left corner and make sure that it's square. Then, when you're done with that, you're going to take your green, you're going to make sure that you change this to blade cut. Then we're going to take, if you want to do a full cut through, you're going to do 450 and 15. If you're doing a kiss cut, you're going to do 115. So now that we've got everything set up, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our M1 Ultra and we're going to cut this out. So one of the things you're going to need is this printable vinyl sticker paper, and it's glossy. It's pretty thick. So when you set it up in your printer, you're going to set it up for photo paper, not regular paper. And on my printer, every once in a while, almost every time, you have to load it twice. The first time you put it in, you load it from the back, it rejects it, and you have to try again. Just a tip, it does work, but it takes a couple tries. Okay, so we are going to hit process. And we're going to hit start. And here we go. And that's going to cut all of our stickers out completely. So here's our machine cutting out the stickers. And I will give a warning to make sure you clean your mat regularly, because mine wasn't sticking and I had to take it down and wash it in soapy water. Now it's sticking good. But watch your first few cuts, because as the whole paper curls up, you might want to clean your mat. So this is our selection of stickers that we made. As you can see, with the high resolution print quality on that sticker paper, these come out really nice, and the detail is excellent. Did one of my shop logo, something you could stick on product bags or whatever. You could take pictures of your pets, make stickers out of those. Pretty much anything you could take a picture of, put it on a sticker. So that's what we ended up with. So if you got the M1 Ultra and you don't have a sublimation press, you don't even have to have the heat press. You can do the heat transfer vinyl, and you can make sure it's like this. And I did a few of them just because I can. And the heat transfer vinyl can also be put on with an iron. So you can put it on with an iron. I just do it with a heat press because I have one, and we'll show how to do that. So what we want to do here is we want to cut this out to do a heat transfer. In order to do that, we want to make this an outline. To do that, we're going to go into Trace, and we're going to generate a trace image. Save that. We're going to take that trace image, and we're going to get rid of this one. And now we've got our trace image, and we want to set our size, which is going to be 5.5 inches. And we're going to go on to blade cut. So after we've traced our image, we want to invert it, or reflect it basically. So we want to reflect it horizontally so that now everything is reversed. Then we're going to take our image and we're going to set it up for the fine cut. We want it to be heat transfer vinyl, and it says you need to reflect objects, and this will give us our settings. So we're going to hit confirm. And that set our cut pressure to 100 and our speed at 80, and we're going to run it in the machine. Go. Kind of cool to watch it do its thing. So by setting our light cut for this part and setting a heavy cut for the 450, we get to pull this out, and then this piece is reusable without peeling off all the border. So after you cut it out off your lathes, off the M1 Ultra, then you've got to weed it. And that's the part that is going to be a little time consuming and loads of fun, because you're going to have to peel all this off, and then you're going to want to keep the image of what you're cutting out visible so that you know what you're actually supposed to be weeding. And you're going to want to have some decent weeding tools. Let's just get a little show on this so you can see. It's actually surprising how much you actually end up pulling off as you're doing this. But it does pull. You're not left with as much behind as you would think. So there's a basic idea of what we've got so far. And with the weeding set, you get a bunch of different tools, which can be very handy. But that's a basic idea of that, and we'll finish weeding it up and we'll come back and show you what we got. So on our press, our low end will make 300. And our high end is 302. Whoops, look at that, one too far. And then we're going to go 10 seconds. And that is set. Okay. So to put the heat transfer vinyl onto a t-shirt, what you want is your settings for a low temp of 3, a high temp of 302, set for 15 seconds, and we're ready to go. Then what you want to do is you want to stick the shirt in there. I stuck a piece of cardboard behind it to keep it straight for us. Keep it wrinkle free as best we can. I'm just going to throw a piece of parchment paper over it. And you run it through once without anything on it for the 15 seconds. And that's just to dry everything out before you put your heat transfer vinyl on. Okay, so now that we've run the shirt through and dried it, we want to put our transfer on, and we're going to want to make sure we get it on the shirt properly. Just like that. Okay, so once we've placed it to where we want it on the t-shirt, I'm going to bring her back around and run it again. Okay, so when this gets to the right temperature and shuts off, like this, we're going to pull our shirt out, but we're not going to pull this off immediately. Unlike sublimation, you want this to cool down a little bit before you pull it off. They say 45 seconds. I wait a little bit before I pull it off. Just let it cool down a little. Okay, so I like to let it cool down till it's not hot to the touch. And then we peel off our backer.
If you peel it off hot, everything will come off with it. So you want to wait till it's nice and cool. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to be doing a lot of different stuff coming up. The heat transfer vinyl that I got, the printable vinyl sticker paper that I use, I'll put in the comments. And if you have any questions about what I've done, leave me a comment and I'll answer it as best I can. Thanks.